Hey, welcome. Glad you could join us for this deep dive.
Always a pleasure.
We love getting suggestions from you, and today's topic was no exception.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to be really eye-opening for our listeners.
This one's from UXDA. It's an article they put together titled,
Yeah, 13 Best UX Hacks from Top Tech Brands to Empower Your Financial Service. Bit of a mouthful, but
Catchy title, though, 13 Best UX Hacks.
definitely grabs your attention.
Yeah, totally. And the premise of the article really intrigued us both, I think, didn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The idea that, you have these big tech companies who have essentially mastered the art of creating these super smooth, super engaging online experiences.
Right, and it makes you wonder, why can't banks and other financial services do the same thing?
Right? I mean, we're all so used to these really polished experiences, whether it's shopping online or streaming videos.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to something as important as managing our money, it can often feel a bit clunky, let's be honest.
Yeah, a little bit behind the times sometimes, for sure.
For sure. And that's where the article really hits the nail on the head. It's like,
Yeah.
why is there this disconnect?
Yeah.
And it's not just about making things look pretty either. It's about using those same techniques to actually make, financial services more user-friendly, more engaging, even enjoyable.
Right.
They even use this term dopamine banking.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I remember reading that dopamine banking.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like, buzzwordy, but
It does, but
when you think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense.
yeah, I'm curious to hear more about that. Like, what is dopamine banking?
So dopamine, as you may know, is this neurotransmitter in your brain. And it's released when you experience pleasure or reward or a sense of achievement, right?
Right.
So the idea behind dopamine banking is to intentionally design financial services in a way that triggers these small dopamine hits, these little bursts of positive feeling.
Okay, so like when you get that notification that your paycheck has been deposited.
Yeah, exactly. Or, when you successfully transfer money or pay a bill without any hassle. It's about making those everyday financial interactions more rewarding, more satisfying.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the article argues that this can actually lead to some really positive outcomes, not just in terms of making people happier, but also encouraging better financial habits.
I like that.
Yeah. So our mission for today, if you will, is to take these 13 UX breakthroughs that the article highlights and see how those could be applied to the world of finance.
Okay, so we're going to be like UX consultants for the day.
Exactly. We're going to put on our UX thinking caps and see how we can make your financial life a little bit better.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's dive in.
All right, so hack number 1,
Hit me.
one-tap actions.
One-tap actions, okay.
The classic example here is Amazon's one-click checkout. You know that little button that lets you buy stuff with a single click?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, brilliant, right?
Super convenient, but how does that apply to banking?
So think about all those routine banking tasks you do, like paying bills, sending money to friends. Right now, it usually involves like navigating through multiple screens, filling in a bunch of fields.
Yeah, it can be a bit tedious.
Exactly. But with one-tap actions, you could just have a button that says, pay this bill or send $50 to, whoever.
I like that a lot.
Right. And you just tap it once, boom, you're done.
Done simple.
Simple, secure, and this saves you a ton of time and hassle.
Okay, but wouldn't that be risky? Like, what if you accidentally tap the wrong button?
Well, for smaller transactions, it could just be a one-tap thing.
Yeah.
But for larger amounts, there could be like a quick confirmation step just to be safe.
Okay, that makes sense. So you're not accidentally wiring your entire savings to the wrong person.
Exactly. But even with that extra step, it's still way faster than the current way of doing things.
I see your point. And the article says this can actually boost engagement and loyalty.
Yeah, because it just makes the whole experience so much smoother. When things are easy to do, you're more likely to do them. And when you're not constantly battling with clunky interfaces,
Right.
you're less likely to get frustrated with your bank.
Makes sense.
It's all about removing those little points of friction.
Yeah. And that little feeling of satisfaction when you get that instant confirmation, like payment sent, that's the dopamine hit, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like a little reward for completing a task, and it makes you feel good about using the service.
Okay, I'm starting to get this dopamine banking thing.
You see?
Yeah. Okay, so what's the next hack?
All right, number 2, minimalist first screen.
Okay, minimalist first screen. And the example here is...
The Google search homepage.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. Yeah, so like that clean, simple design.
Exactly. Just a single search bar in the middle of the page.
No clutter, just what you need.
Right, and that's what your banking app should be like when you open it up.
So instead of bombarding me with a million things at once...
Nope, just the essentials, your main account, balance,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a notification about an upcoming bill, and then 1 or 2 key actions like transfer funds or pay a bill.
Okay, that sounds way less overwhelming.
Right. It's about reducing cognitive load.
Yeah.
The amount of mental effort you have to put into using the app.
Yeah, when you open up your banking app and it's just like a wall of text and numbers, it's hard to know where to even start.
Exactly. And it could be a bit anxiety-inducing, too.
Totally.
But with a minimalist first screen, you can just breathe.
Yeah.
You see your balance, you see what needs attention, and you can easily take action.
Makes sense. And the article says that this approach can actually enhance brand clarity and trust.
Yeah, because it projects an image of confidence and simplicity.
Yeah.
Like the bank is saying, we know it's important to you, and we're making it easy for you to manage it.
Yeah, instead of like trying to throw everything at you at once.
Exactly.
Okay, so less is more in this case.
Definitely. And that feeling of calmness and clarity you get when you see that clean, uncluttered screen, that's another little dopamine hit.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
It's like a sense of relief.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I've got this. I'm in control.
Okay, I like it.
Right.
Let's move on to the next one.
All right, number 3, personalized suggestions.
Okay, personalized suggestions. And I think I know where this one is going, Netflix.
You got it.
Yep, so like how Netflix recommends shows based on what you've watched before.
Exactly. And you know how effective that is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, half the time I'm just like, sure, Netflix, you know me better than I know myself.
Yeah, their algorithm is pretty good.
So how can your bank do the same thing?
Well, I guess it would be like instead of suggesting movies, it's suggesting financial products or services.
Right. So, for example, if you frequently travel internationally, you might see a suggestion for a bank account with lower foreign transaction fees.
Okay. Or if I'm always struggling to save money, maybe it could suggest a budgeting tool or a high-yield savings account.
Exactly. It's about offering tailored advice based on your actual financial behavior, not just generic ads for things you don't need.
And this can actually create more relevant user journeys.
Yeah, because it means you're more likely to see and engage with things that are actually helpful to you.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't love feeling like a company gets them,
Right. And it also positions the bank as more of an advisor rather than just a place to store your money.
Yeah. So it's not just about transactions. It's about building a relationship.
Exactly. And that feeling of getting a suggestion that's like perfectly timed and relevant to your needs, that's another little dopamine boost.
Right. Because it feels like someone's actually paying attention.
Exactly. And it makes you feel valued as a customer.
All right. On to hack number 4.
High quality visuals.
High quality visuals. Okay, so we're talking about aesthetics here. And the example is
Airbnb.
Airbnb. Okay,
Yeah.
so like those beautiful photos of all the amazing places you can stay.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
all about creating a visually appealing experience,
Okay.
something that makes you want to spend time on the app.
Okay, so how does that translate to a banking app?
Well, it's about using clean, crisp graphics, intuitive icons, making sure the layout is easy on the eyes.
Right.
And it's also about presenting information in a clear and engaging way.
Like those charts and graphs that show your spending habits.
It's exactly. They should be easy to understand and visually appealing, not just a bunch of boring numbers on a spreadsheet.
So it's not just about functionality, it's about creating a certain feeling.
Right. It's about conveying a sense of professionalism and trustworthiness.
Yeah.
Like this bank has got their act together.
Yeah, and the article also mentions using real people for customer support avatars.
Yeah.
Instead of those generic stock photos.
Yeah, that's a good point. It just adds a human touch. Makes the whole experience feel more personal.
And I bet that feeling of being in a well-designed space, visually appealing, it creates a sense of comfort and trust.
Absolutely. It's subtle, but it makes a difference. It's like walking into a beautiful hotel lobby versus a dingy motel.
I get it.
It sets the tone for the whole experience.
Okay, on to hack number 5.
Streamlined onboarding.
Streamlined onboarding. And the example is
Basecamp.
Basecamp, the project management software.
Yeah. So they really focused on making their sign-up process as smooth as possible.
Yeah.
Minimizing the number of fields you have to fill out.
Okay, because nobody likes filling out those long, tedious forms.
Right. And it's the same for banking. Opening a new account, applying for a loan, it shouldn't feel like an obstacle course.
So how can banks streamline this process?
Well, one way is to use what are called progressive forms.
Progressive forms.
Yeah. So instead of hitting you with one giant form, they break it down into smaller chunks.
Yeah.
You only have to provide the essential information at each step.
Oh, okay, so it feels less overwhelming.
Exactly. And it also helps to have real-time data validation. So if you enter your email address incorrectly, it'll tell you right away instead of making you wait until you submit the whole form.
That's so much better than getting to the end and then having to go back and fix a bunch of errors.
Right. And of course, just removing any unnecessary fields. If it's not absolutely essential, don't ask for it.
Makes sense. And the article says that this can significantly reduce abandonment rates.
Yeah, because people are less likely to give up if the process feels quick and easy.
Okay. And the dopamine hit here comes from that sense of progress, right? Like checking off those little boxes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a mini reward for completing each step, and it keeps you motivated to finish the whole process.
Okay. So it's like gamifying the onboarding experience.
Kind of, yeah.
I like it. All right. What's next?
All right, number 6, referral prompts.
Referral prompts like tell a friend, get a discount.
Exactly. And the inspiration here is Dropbox.
Dropbox. Yeah, they were really successful with their referral program.
Yeah, they offered extra storage space to users who referred their friends, and it helped them grow like crazy.
Right. And that same principle can be applied to banking.
Absolutely. So imagine your bank offering you a cash bonus or a waived fee if you refer a friend who opens a new account.
Okay. That's a pretty good incentive.
Right. And of course, it has to be super easy to do. And maybe you just share a unique referral link directly from the app.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's a win-win situation. You know, the bank gets new customers and you get rewarded for spreading the word.
Right. And it also reinforces the idea that the bank is good enough that you're willing to recommend it to your friends.
Exactly. It's a form of social proof, it builds trust.
And the positive feeling here is that combination of helping a friend out and getting a reward yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice little dopamine boost.
All right. Moving right along.
Okay, number 7, progress bar.
Progress bar. And the example here is
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Yeah, those profile completion bars.
Exactly. You know how they encourage you to fill out your profile by showing you how much you've completed?
Right. It makes you want to get to 100%.
Exactly. And banks can use the same technique.
Yeah.
Whether it's for completing your KYC requirements or filling out a loan application.
Yeah, I can see that.
It just gives you a visual sense of progress.
Yeah.
And it can be really motivating.
Yeah, especially if there are little rewards along the way. Like complete 50% of your profile and get a free month of premium service or something like that.
Right. Or maybe even some kind of fun animation, when you reach 100%.
Yeah, like fireworks going off or something.
Yeah, exactly. Make it a celebration.
Okay, I like it. And the article says that this can actually improve the overall service.
Yeah, because when you have a complete profile, the bank can offer you more personalized advice, and they can process your requests more efficiently.
Okay, so it's not just about making you feel good. It's actually beneficial for the bank, too.
Exactly.
Okay, and the dopamine hit here is that sense of accomplishment, right? Like, I did it.
Yeah, it's a small win, but it can make a difference. It's like checking something off your to-do list.
Okay, on to hack number 8.
All right, number 8, one-tap feedback.
One-tap feedback. So we're talking about making it easy for users to share their thoughts.
Exactly, and the inspiration here is Facebook.
Oh, yeah, the like button.
Yeah, that's a classic example.
Yeah.
One tap, and you've expressed your opinion.
Right, and then they expanded on that with the different reactions.
Right, the love, the haha, the wow, the sad, the angry.
Yeah.
And banks can do something similar, after you interact with customer support or complete a transaction.
So instead of having to fill out a long survey.
Exactly. You just tap a thumbs up or thumbs down, or maybe choose from a few different emojis that represent your feelings.
Okay, that's quick and easy.
Right. And it gives the bank valuable feedback in real time.
Yeah, so they can identify any issues or areas for improvement.
Exactly. And it also shows you, the customer, that they value your opinion.
Right, because it's like they're actually listening.
Exactly.
And the dopamine hit here comes from feeling heard, right? Like your feedback matters.
Exactly. It's that sense of agency, you're actually contributing to making the service better.
All right, number 9.
Okay, number 9, biometric one-tap payment.
Biometric one-tap payment. So we're talking about things like fingerprint scanning and facial recognition.
You got the example here is
Apple Pay.
Apple Pay. Exactly. How you can just tap your phone or look at it to authorize a payment?
Yeah, super convenient.
Right. And banking apps can do the same thing.
Yeah.
Imagine logging into your bank account with your fingerprint or paying a bill with a glance.
That would be awesome.
Right. It eliminates the need to remember passwords or type in PINs.
Which I always mess up.
Exactly. And it's way more secure, too.
Yeah, because your fingerprint or your face is unique.
Exactly. And the article suggests making the add card and enable biometrics options really prominent in the app.
So it's easy for people to set it up.
Right, because once you experience the convenience of it, you'll never want to go back.
Okay, and the dopamine hit here is that combination of instant gratification and feeling secure.
Right,
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, wow, that was so easy, and I know my money is safe.
It's like the best of both worlds.
Exactly. All right, ready for number 10?
Hit me.
Number 10, recurring personalized discovery.
Recurring personalized discovery. Okay, that's a mouthful. And the example here is
Spotify.
Spotify, those Discover Weekly playlists.
Yeah, exactly. You know how Spotify curates a new playlist for you every week based on your listening habits?
Yeah, I love those playlists. They always introduce me to new artists I wouldn't have found otherwise.
Right. So how can your bank do something similar?
Well, instead of music recommendations, it would be financial recommendations.
Exactly. So imagine getting a weekly or monthly financial snapshot, like a personalized digest of insights and tips based on your spending patterns.
Okay, so like maybe it'll tell me, hey, you've been spending a lot on eating out lately. Maybe you should try cooking at home more often.
Right. Or you're on track to reach your savings goal this month. Keep up the good work.
Okay, I like that it's like having a personal financial advisor in your pocket.
Exactly. And it's all based on your actual data, so it's not just generic advice. It's tailored to your specific situation.
And the dopamine hit here comes from the element of surprise, right? Like,
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like discovering a hidden gem,
Really?
something that's actually useful to you.
Makes sense. All right, keep going.
Okay, number 11, single tap rides.
Single tap rides, and this one is inspired by
Uber?
Uber. Yeah, so like how you
Right.
can order a ride with just one tap.
Exactly. No need to enter your destination or payment information. It's all handled automatically.
Right, super convenient.
So how can banks apply this principle?
Well, I guess it would be about simplifying complex tasks.
Yeah.
Making it so you can do things like apply for a loan or split a bill with friends with just a single tap.
And it's also about anticipating your needs.
Yeah.
So for example, if you regularly transfer money to the same person, it could pre-fill the information for you.
Okay, so it's like it knows what you want to do before you even do it.
Exactly. And then you just confirm with a single tap.
And the dopamine hit here comes from that feeling of being in control, right? Like you can make things happen effortlessly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I just tapped a button and boom, it's done.
Okay, I like it. What's next?
All right. Number 12, live collaboration canvas.
Live collaboration canvas. So we're talking about real-time collaboration here, and the example is
Figma.
Figma, the design software.
Yeah, you know how multiple people can work on the same Figma file at the same time and see each other's changes?
Yeah, it's really cool.
So how can this be applied to banking?
Well, I guess it'd be like shared accounts, where both account holders can see the same information and make changes in real time.
Exactly. Or maybe you could have a joint budgeting tool where you and your partner can collaborate on your financial goals.
Okay, or maybe even co-browsing with a customer support agent, so they can walk you through something on your screen.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It just makes the whole experience more transparent and collaborative.
Right. No more surprises or misunderstandings.
Exactly. And it can really help to build trust,
Mm-hmm.
both between the account holders and with the bank.
Okay, and the dopamine hit here comes from that feeling of shared accomplishment, right? Like, we're in this together.
Exactly. It's like a team effort,
All right, and finally, the last hack.
Number 13, endless personalized feed.
Endless personalized feed. And I'm guessing this is inspired by
TikTok.
TikTok. Yeah, that For You page that just keeps feeding you videos you might like.
Exactly. It's designed to keep you engaged and coming back for more.
And it's very effective.
Very effective. So how can banks create a similar experience?
Well, instead of funny videos, it would be financial tips and insights.
Right. So imagine opening your banking app and seeing a personalized feed of short articles, videos, infographics.
Okay, so like little bite-sized pieces of financial information.
Exactly. And it's all tailored to your interests and needs.
So maybe I'll see something about saving for retirement or investing in the stock market.
Right. Or maybe some tips on budgeting or managing debt.
Okay, and the article suggests making it easy to share these insights with friends.
Yeah, just like you can share TikTok videos.
Right, because then it's not just about consuming information, it's about sharing it and helping others.
Exactly. And the dopamine hit here comes from that constant stream of new and interesting content.
It's like, ooh, what am I going to learn today?
Exactly. And each time you find something helpful or insightful, it reinforces that positive feeling towards the bank.
Okay, wow, we've covered a lot of ground here. 13 UX hacks from some of the biggest tech companies in the world.
It's pretty amazing how these seemingly simple ideas can be applied to such a different industry.
Yeah, and I think the key takeaway here is that user experience really matters.
Absolutely. It's not just about making things look pretty. It's about understanding how people interact with technology and designing experiences that are intuitive, engaging, and ultimately rewarding.
Right. And in the world of finance, that can make a huge difference. It can build trust. It can encourage positive financial behaviors. It can even make managing your money a little bit more enjoyable.
Exactly. And it's not just about big banks either. Even smaller financial institutions can benefit from adopting these principles.
Yeah, anyone who wants to create a better experience for their customers.
Right. And as we wrap up here, I think it's worth asking yourself, what one UX improvement would you love to see from your bank or financial service provider?
Yeah, I mean, out of all the 13 we discussed, which one stood out to you the most?
It's a tough choice, but I think I'd have to go with the minimalist first screen. Yeah, I just love the idea of opening my banking app and seeing a clean, uncluttered dashboard. Just the essential information and nothing more.
Yeah, I can see that it's like a breath of fresh air.
Exactly. And it just makes me feel more in control, less overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards the one-tap actions.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one, too.
I just love the idea of being able to pay bills and transfer money with a single tap, so quick and easy.
Yeah, definitely a time saver.
So listeners, we'd love to hear from you. Which UX hack resonated with you the most and why?
Yeah. Let us know in the comments or on social media. We're always curious to hear your thoughts.
And remember, even small changes can make a big difference.
Absolutely. So don't be afraid to demand better UX from your financial institutions.
You deserve it.
You do. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
We'll catch you next time.
See ya.
Bye.